connected to this global family, you can just share in the chat this topic of bodiless, viceless, egoless. And everyone here largely knows the meaning, but there is a lot to explore and refine and discover nuances. Recently came across this quote by Buckminster Fuller, who was architect and inventor, and I like it very much. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. I really enjoyed that, especially from background in design. And of course, now we're working on the real design within. So greetings, nice to be connected to Jordan and Sheffield, Switzerland, and I think Great Yarmouth also, India, Portugal. And speaking of this inner design, Leo Tolstoy, the writer said, everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. It's interesting to notice the habit, even if we are on this path. And maybe finally, food for thought from Marcus Aurelius, philosopher, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. So what are we creating, and what are we replacing? And this method of coming completely free from ego, egoless, vices, viceless, and what is bodiless, being awake to being independent from the body. So greetings to everyone, and welcoming in Prashant, and good morning.
Good morning, and so nice to meet again. Shanti. We'll create a few minutes of becoming bodiless. We'll start with the experience. The beautiful thing is our starting position is bodiless. Bodiless traveler is the bodiless witness. And witness is aware of his complete independence from the story. There's a grand story, but he understands his independence. Him of a second. Witness already exists, and his reality already exists. Just we are checking if he's conscious or not conscious. Prashant will not become bodiless. Prashant means a bodily being, and he will remain bodily being in the story. But bodiless witness is waking up. and aware, seeing it with happiness, is complete independence from the whole story. All the bodily images are all within that story. And the bodiless witness is aware of his world, which is alaukic, unearthly, different, invisible, ordinarily invisible. The moment he discovers his complete independence from the story, that's why we use these very strong words in story or world of dolls, so that we don't mix the lives with the world of dolls. The bodiless witness, he has his own world. He has his family, he has his home. He's more interested in that. His world is the world with God, and it's the world of God. World of the family. All that was required, he becoming conscious. That was the only thing that was required. Now he discovers he has this great family, and they all are divine beings. They all look like tiny stars. They all are immortal. They all need nothing from anywhere. And they are beyond harm. Here is the true family. In the story, we do not have the family. Here is the family. World of the family and the father. At this level, everyone is like this, living stars. So also the father. Here is the one who never is deceived by that story. That's why it remains forever clean, remains forever holy. That's why wisest. Image is just a point, just like everyone else. But he remains the wisest, makes others wise. Wisest, holiest, and highest. We are just seeing this extraordinary truth of everyone. All are good, all are safe, all are loved by God. The sweet bond with the supreme friend, all and always, eternal bond. We are just seeing this. Even as we see this right now, we are creating light and we make it easy for others to experience it. As we continue on our journey, we remember the extraordinary truth of everyone. Thank you. And Sarah, want to add anything? And feel free. Anyone want to comment? I want to share any thoughts? Feel free.
Just a joy to have this, and we had the reading this morning, the blessing of purity, which is more like the holy yogi, so free from Ravan and connected to Ram, and then we get a chance to see what needs to, what is not right, you know, what we don't feel, and what is not the truth of the self. It's just so empowering when no one else can do that but the friend of the soul, say the one that's not deceived by all of the mixture. There aren't any other comments right now, although there was a question in the form. In the philosophy, is the right order bodiless, viceless, egoless? Is it the sequence that was said by Brahma Baba?
I don't exactly remember, but it might not be that relevant. Usually bodiless, egoless, viceless, but don't know what the original sequence was.
Yeah.
Let us see our journey. Most important for us is to know that we have a journey. We are friends of the bodiless angel. Surprisingly, that is rare because most of the world is friend of the ego. They completely ignore the soul. Don't even want to know. Even those who believe there is a soul, they don't have time for the soul. And no chance of they seeing the soul in others. So the other option, 100% of the time, is full time working for the enemy. That is the ego. Ego is the enemy. Why? Why is ego the enemy? Is ego your enemy?
Yeah, definitely.
And why?
And he doesn't want you to wake up. He wants to be using all the tools. Any other responses? Made us unconscious, so he is the enemy.
You have this supreme reality. It is your right to experience it. World of super sensuous experiences, bliss and love and immortality and great family, company of God, eternal celebration. If there is one factor that denies you all, is Mr. Ego. Ego blocks it all. That is like a huge loss. If someone is a king and something just denies him from even experiencing, even waking up to it. So here, this invisible prince, he doesn't even think that he's a prince, he's a soul. You know, the whole thing is blocked, and it is by ego. So there is a big enemy there, but biggest wonder is that world is working full time for the enemy, for the ego. They want to make the ego bigger and give him what he wants, and they are really bothered if ego doesn't get what it wants or ego is scratched. They will be working very hard to work for it. So that is the way things are happening. Let us see this life of this invisible prince. We all know the basics that this soul has a journey, he has a home, and temporarily he is associated with this story. This is obvious. This story world is a foreign world for us. And why do we say? How can we say this is a foreign world? You know, what is your reason for saying it? This world we are dealing with is a foreign world. Have you got one reason why you say that this is a foreign world? One big reason.
Because our world is parandam.
Okay, but for any logic person, how will you tell him some rational reason? This world we are dealing with is a foreign world.
We can't take anything from here. We are travelers. This is temporary. Everything is temporary. Our world is light, world of light. We don't have a right to anything here. We are guests.
Another big reason, we have an exit without my permission. No one asks me. We are out of this, at some moment. And that is enough reason to accept the reality that this is not our world. And leave aside anything else. I have no control over this world. If I was to own things, I should be able to take them with me. So truth is, we are in a foreign land. And not just God is in the foreign world, but we are also in the foreign world. And we have the option to shamelessly claim that this is mine. It is, that option is there, to create this little bubble that this is all mine. Foreign world is not a problem. We like to go to foreign countries, but once you know it is a foreign world, you know how to behave. You have certain borders. You don't claim things. That you will be breaking the law of the land. You remain a tourist. You may give some ideas, you may do things, but you remain a tourist, an observer. So also in this foreign land, to come in this foreign land is not a sin. But when we are in the foreign land, we need to consider ourselves guest here. Then we are okay. You know you have not forgotten the exit. Consider yourself a trustee, then it is okay. You don't own anything. Trustee. You are the observer, witness, that is okay. Then you are in this land. One who is conscious, that's what we mean, invisible witness, who is the invisible prince of his world. He remains in his honor. He knows not one atom of this story world of dolls need to belong to him. He's going to spend his whole time here. That is not a problem to be here. But all along, he understands he doesn't own one atom of this world, and he has no real control on that world and doesn't need to have control. It has got a script, it has got a story, and that's fine. And he's very aware of his exit. He remains in his honor. And naturally remains bodiless, egoless, viceless. All these, the vices and ego are connected with the foreign world. 100% of the vices are connected with this world, foreign world. 100% of desires are connected with this foreign world. 100% of sorrows are connected with this. The moment we go into a wrong direction, moment we cross that line, dotted line, the invisible prince crosses the dotted line of ignorance, and starts believing he owns these things and confused. Then he gets all of this. Now he is vulnerable. Now he can get vices also, and he get ego also. He thinks this is all me, not just a body. This is everything is me, mine. He has desires and sorrows, degradation, full degradation starts. Cause of all of this is confusion. Truth remains. He remains the prince. He is the eternal prince. This world of his, it never disappears. It is a timeless and eternal reality. Life with God and world of fullness, world of perfection, a celebration that remains. To cross that line just means he is confused. It literally like some prince was to be confused. He doesn't even realize he's the prince. He thinks he's a beggar. And this is the situation when we cross this line. Zombie prince. So if we want to address any of these things, we'll have to first address the situation of confusion. We can't help anyone become free from ego as long as that confusion is there. Baba's method is knowledge. And Baba says, I am the purifier, but purifier with knowledge. We have seen this in our past discussions. that ego, we use this word ego, but it is not just some king or president has got ego. Some bad people have got ego, and everyone else is okay. Ego is a much more, universal thing that is going on. And let us see this. Use like the term identification and false identities. And this happens in a subconscious level. Our starting identification is not conscious. So here is the invisible prince. He's temporarily in this foreign land, and he has his world beyond. He comes into confusion and starts claiming things. Mine. Confusion leads to more confusion, and bondages create more bondages, and that's why the downward spiral starts. Once you cross the line, then the downward spiral starts. Until then, he has been using the word mine, and claiming more. More he creates bondages, more is his insecurity. He feels, I can lose this, so he wants more. So he is now trapped in that vicious cycle. But that confusion leads to another level of bondage, and that bondage we call the identification. He starts to define himself based on things outside. What's the difference? Let us say there is a car, and I start saying this is my car. And the moment I start using the word my, I have a fear inside of losing it. That's all. Let's say there is some broken some stick. It is my stick, and okay, it is mine. That is a label. But someone criticizes that stick, it doesn't bother me. But as long as they don't steal it, they don't take it away. But when the word I comes in, you are now taking offense. Stick is still there, but someone criticizes it, you take it personally. That is a sign that I has taken birth. All of this happens in a subconscious way. We may not use the language my or I, but subconsciously, how do you know ego has come? When the offense is taken. Whatever area you take the offense, where you can take sorrow, it means the ego has come. Everything is around you, but you are taking offense. It is subconscious. Conscious level, it is not there, or it may not be there. Subconscious. As an example, someone says something about your religion. You are born in a religion, you may not practice the religion, but someone says this religion is a bad religion. It is the worst religion in the world. And if you take the offense, that is a sign that you are identifying with that religion. It can be a football team. It can be an opinion. It may be a political party. It can be another person, a friend, your relation, some person. If you are taking things personally, everyone is safe, physically safe. But if you are taking personal offense, then That is the ego. Ego is not based upon, someone says, I am very good at, running. I am very good at jumping. Just because he says that, it doesn't mean he has got ego. It just means he may be honest and innocent. But the litmus test for the ego is based upon the offense. Superficially, people can be clever, they know to pretend to be humble and to avoid some language, and politically, you know, intelligent. It doesn't mean they are egoless. And internally, we have to check ourselves. Are there sensitivities? Do I take anything personally? In this foreign world, that is the thing. Right from the body, will you take offense if someone says the nose is ugly, or something about the body is said, or about your dress? It can be, we may have knowledge for many, many years. It doesn't mean this I will go, they remain. Ego is very, very stubborn, as was said before. If ego was to go, you are karmatit. All the ego are removed, then there's nothing to block you from experiencing the highest and your supreme reality. Do you want to add anything? Say anything? Anyone has got any ego?
That's an innocent question. Yeah, I liked yesterday there was a likening of the ego to like a mad dog, meaning like a senseless energy of running and disturbing and barking around the role. And it gave a feeling of that energy which no sense can come from this kind of restlessness and emotion and unnecessary hype. And I was just thinking, we can identify with these spiritual ideas, we can identify with an institution. And with that backdrop, we have righteous anger, maybe. We think, oh, we should defend something that we feel is good, but it's actually the ego's madness that, in the name of a good cause, has taken a side street. And so just thinking about how sneaky it is. So the quality of this, the sanctity of the invisible traveler, where there is not this madness, not this atmosphere and vibration of hype. It's a good reference point. We need to also really come back to it many times. Someone's typed lots of heads in response to your question.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Now, one factor that influences our creating these identities is our society. If the society you are in, they don't worry about your job title at all. No one wants to know what job you do. Then you are less likely to create that particular I. Society has a huge influence here. We all have crossed a line, but the scale of our ego and what kind of ego is largely created by the society. If you are in one society, they all are bothered about religion, which religion, immediate community. Then you are more likely to say, yes, this is my religion, this is my class, this is my caste. If no one wants to know about it, you are less likely to think about it. So with various associations, we are temporarily associated with many things in this foreign land. And in this confusion, we claim it. And then next level is we use it for this indulgence, define ourselves, and create some kind of a superiority, based on that, some kind of a, you know, um, your identity, your greatness is based upon and some of these things. Quite strange how we can create identity based on the dog, and it is like a real shows a real degradation that can happen in human beings, and this is not an exaggeration, and this is not rare. It happens in some countries where a person will take offense if the someone doesn't like the dog, his dog. He's not harming the dog, but just avoids the dog or something like that. He takes personally, the master takes it personally. He identifies with the shoes, and it is like a degradation of the intellect, bottom line, where he defines himself based on things of this world. To start with, there is an intoxication. That is the reason we go there. Whatever we do, it is because of happiness. We get trapped and there is sorrow. But in the beginning, you are finding there is happiness. People are praising your shoes. They think you are so wonderful because you got shoes that are so wonderful. And you accept it. Certain job, people say, if that is what is happening, then you also accept it. Our bottom line thinking is crowd is always right. They see you in a certain way, that should be right. And so you feed that identity. We can't easily remove ego. Ego is the cause of huge sorrow in the world. All the wars are fought because of the ego. 100% of the wars are wars of the ego. And we have discussed this in the past, but ego is hardwired to see himself as a victim because he takes offense, and so he sees himself as a victim, and you are creating problems. Ego is based upon something that is temporary, so he knows it is going to go. So if not today, tomorrow I will be a victim. And we have said victim gravitates towards the dangers. He is full time. His attention is on dangers. And so he looks at all the negative things that may happen to him, that have happened. That his focus is on the negative. Bigger the ego, more negative he will be. Other trait of the ego and the victim, he thinks he's right because he's the victim. You are wrong because you are the cause of his problem. He doesn't say the ego is wrong. And the ego will never say he is wrong. That is one thing about ego. It is like I am always right. Its starting position is ignorance. Then his positioning is, it is difficult for ego to say he is wrong because it is like self-destruction. Ego wants to survive. But this is like a big problem in the international situation, in the relationships, countries, but can be individual. Ego feels he's right because he's a victim, and you are wrong because you are the cause of his problem. Like say, you may say something that that car, you don't like the color of the car. You may be just making a very, very casual comment, not aimed to hurt anyone, but he takes the offense and he says, you are wrong and I'm right. But in a society where everyone is in the victim mentality, whole world is in that. Ego, wherever there is ego, they are in the victim mentality. Everyone thinks I am right and you are. That's why we said it creates this dynamics for war. Each party says I'm right, you are wrong. So one is the victim, and as a result, he is forever a beggar. He constantly wants more. Please give me more praise, give me bigger hat, give me sing a song, because I'm poor, I'm insecure. And of course, if his insecurity is made worse, he will find himself in anger. Many people want to overcome anger, become free from anger. We can't easily just say, I'm becoming free from anger from today. Anger is a seed, and seed is ego. Without even seeing the seed, I can't just say, I'm going to be free from anger. And in this case, there are many seeds because we have created different identities. And I can become free from one, but tomorrow the other identity can take the offense. And if we can blame someone, any of his sorrows, if he can blame anyone, he will be experiencing anger. If he can't blame anyone, that anger is directed towards himself, and it takes the form of depression. When we use the word Ravan, these are different heads of Ravan. These different identities are different heads of Ravan. Each head can get into anger, each head can get into envy, each head can go into depression. Can get stressed, and because it is as if there's an individuality in each head. Our big success is to accept this. Ravan's big trait is denial. He will say, I never get angry, and it is very little. He survives by denial. And for you to say that, yes, this exists, this I'm identifying with. Don't use the word small, little identity. No. Ravan likes to say it is little, but you say that is the identity. And there is no reason I should get into such a bondage in a foreign world. To just acknowledge there is an identity there. That itself is a success to become free from that. If there is a robber and if he is not seen, that robber can create more problems. If a robber is seen, picked up, your camera picks up the robber. A robber knows he's seen now. He will go away. Robbers don't like cameras. So also here, these are robbers, big robbers, these identities. And we said they are the big enemies of the soul. So if you just observe and acknowledge here is identity, there's no denial there. There's no denying anything. You observe the robber, and the power comes if you see the absurdity of it, you are saying, I am identifying with shoes. What an absurd thing. Like the one who creates this identity based on the shoe. If you really, or he or she was to see what a degradation. I am getting the self-respect based on the shoes or dog. You will see the absurdity of it. But same thing applies to every aspect. Invisible Prince is realizing this. What is happening here? See the contrast. And that instantly creates power to drop this, that contrast, that realization. Lots of it drops. And we sometimes say half the battle is won. So the seed will remain, and we can be careless and it can come back again. But your self-observation is a good start. We have to observe these different identities. And good time to observe them when there is an environment that provokes them. It is not in a comfort zone, in the ego comfort zone. You will not observe the ego. When you put yourself in a discomfort, and then use that situation to trace back what identity. Just broadly, ego is not enough. That doesn't empower you. You have to say, what is this identity precisely? Like we gave some examples of the dog and shows, some extreme, sometimes some subtle. One ego form of ego is I am punctual. I should be seen as punctual. And it could be I am the one who should be with all all like what noble people. I am the one who should be with kings, and I am the one who should be. Maybe you played a part like that in the past lives, and I am the one who should be with the celebrities, and suddenly you find yourself with someone who are not celebrities, simple village farmers, you know, and this I will feel really, why have you invited me here? Don't you know who I am? That is the language of the ego. Do you know who I am? It can be anything, identity based upon some image, and those images, there are reasons. You played a part. You played different parts in the past. You are always successful, always right. Someone may have an identity. I am always right. And that person says something, and someone says, this doesn't appear right. They will get really, really annoyed. Don't like to be questioned, because they played that part. They were the ones with very good discrimination, maybe in the past lives. And now that identity continues, but the part is different. Drama part is different, and that identity takes offense. All these subtle, gross, all these identities need to be observed and removed. Without acknowledging, they don't go. They will go only with our permission. It is not that I'm having yoga here and some ego are going there. You will see you will see it before it goes. Baba says it comes to take leave. So you don't have to go into the process of major ego conflict, but you are observing that this is absurd. You are seeing the absurdity, and then you can drop it. yoga provides the mirror. In that mirror, this stands out, and you are able to drop. And you want to add anything? Say anything?
Very, very interesting. And someone's typed, knowing the enemy is to set the angel free. It was interesting, this about society's influence. Sometimes we can think we are right, or we might think we are wrong, and then the society is right. So it's from manmat to pamat, opinions of others. There was a couple of questions.
Sure.
When it is said doubly non-violent, does it mean no ego?
Doubly non-violent, the broad definition of that. Like Gandhi has non-violence, principle of non-violence. He will not give sorrow to anyone. He will not give sorrow to a mosquito, to an ant, to a snake. And it's absolute non-violence. He will not criticize anyone. He will not make jokes. And in the ashram policy, not to make jokes on the enemies or anyone. No jokes. So that is non-violence. But it is not double non-violence. It is non-violence. If you don't give sorrow to yourselves, you're not giving sorrow to others, but also not giving sorrow to yourselves, then it is double non-violence. You're not dealing with any kinds of sorrow in any form. Another term that gets used, supreme non-violence. It is. So to be free from ego is necessary part of it. Ravan is the one who deals with sorrow. Take sorrow, give sorrow. That is Ravan. If Ravan is not there, you are supremely non-violent.
Thank you. Other question, what's the difference between incorporeal and bodiless?
One time Baba said, bodiless, incorporeal, avyakt, and videhi, there are different words, ashariri, different words, and the soul consciousness, all the same in one avyakt mode. So simplified version that in different context, Baba uses different words, sometimes to rhyme even, but it means the same.
Would you say a bit about this word, because maybe it's from the path of devotion, the word bodiless, but you've shared before it's implied without ego rather than the emphasis just being without body.
Yeah. Yeah, bodiless itself is, as is emphasized, bodiless, egoless, viceless. So these three words together is nice. But when the word bodiless itself is used, yes, I want to achieve bodiless state, or practice being bodiless, that that implies all three. In a simplified version, someone might say, become bodiless. But if ego is there, it is not a huge achievement, just being bodiless. Just want to show here another kind of ego that can come. And here we are seeing all are familiar with this sketch. We have used this sketch in the past. Anyone who is not familiar with this sketch? You can tell. In essence, this is like the photograph of the mind. Selfie. Someone takes a selfie, And bit surprise, this selfie takes photograph of the mind, and you see that there are some ego there, false identities. But shocked to notice that there are many I based on the shoes, and I based on the hat, and I based on other people. All these I are there. So he's a bit surprised. And our job is to remove them. That's why we are here. And the big method for removing this false I is nourish soul consciousness. Every minute you are practicing soul consciousness, you are a winner. You are creating light inside yourselves. You are seeing you are the visitor in that foreign land. And you are seeing complete independence from that foreign land. That is, you may not have achieved 100% change, but you are introducing that change. And so every minute you are introducing this, you are a winner. And the ego continues to become smaller. The shift is taking place. As the ego have got bigger, soul consciousness has become smaller. So now you are reversing it. Soul consciousness is winning, and ego are becoming smaller. Now, one question. So you understand this sort of secret method of purification. You are applying it, with full enthusiasm. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you are successful. What will happen at the end of 3 weeks? You have been doing this, and there is big success. You are progressing, ego getting smaller, and everything becoming easy. What will happen after 3 weeks? What you guess?
Someone has said ordinariness, maybe some carelessness or laziness, or new ego of being so good. Ego that says I'm good at removing ego.
Yes, very good. Yes, definitely. A new ego will take birth. Let me see a different color for this. Even new ego will take birth. And this new ego is that I'm so spiritual, and I am now soul conscious. My neighbors don't know anything of this. And now this new ego, you are sitting in meditation, but this new ego, I am so spiritual, that is what is getting nourishment now. Not the soul. Soul is completely forgotten now. You are starting in a new camp has started. And ego is ego. Now you're saying, I'm very spiritual. It appears almost soul conscious because the language is so good. But it is projected based upon the story. You are saying, Harry is very spiritual. You are not thinking of the soul. You are saying, Harry is very virtuous. And Harry is the one who is doing such wonderful things, something, the actions are done. They are saying Harry is doing it. It is projected in the drama. And so it is still ego, and that ego wants to survive, and ego doesn't mind to adapt. Darwin's theory of, is not survival of the fittest, but survival of the one who adapts. As the world changes, environment changes, any animal that can adapt to the change of environment, they survive. That is his theory. So here ego is master in the art of adapting. In the past, he had ego based upon his car and based upon his hat, because people around him, worshipped him because of the car. Now you are in an environment where people are making spiritual effort. They are very virtuous. They observe in you the virtues, dharana they are observing. So you adapt to this. You are speak softly, speak little. Now you are moving in a gentle way. But now you are saying here, I am very spiritual. I am egoless. one identity, maybe I'm egoless. It may be, you may be really creating this, because you may notice in the past you were creating ego based on the car. Now everyone is talking about their car, everyone talking about their job, everyone talking about their amazing things. And you say, I don't never notice this. I don't think like this at all. I don't talk like that. I must be egoless. Innocently, you might start creating these identities. But once you give birth to it, it will grow. That is the problem. Just like this bacteria or viruses, you bring in the you know um, what trace, and the progeny grows. Once you give birth to the ego, then it wants to get bigger. It will find things to make it big. And ego is ego. Ego is demonic. Ego will get jealous. Ego will get angry. Ego will sabotage things for you. And just that desire now, ego under protection. You self-righteous. You feel absolutely right in creating this ego. You feel like that. As was said, one question. Let me ask you one question. So all kinds of these ego can come. Which ego is difficult to remove? There are egos based upon shoes and dog, ego based upon religion, ego based upon your virtues, ego based upon your spiritual effort, you know, ego based upon being a yogi also. So which ego is difficult to remove?
The one you don't recognize. Spiritual ego.
A nice way to see it. Answers are right, but the ego that you have not seen, robber that is not spotted, that robber can create more problems. So there are all these different ego, and if you are not observing, not denial, some kind of denial is there. You may observe some others around you might draw your attention to some, but there will be denial. Others are not in a good position to show you, because Maya within you will say, that's wrong. Like Trump, in a political debate, someone is saying something in opposition, and Trump says, wrong, wrong. The same way, if someone tells you you got certain ego says wrong. Internally, you will say this is wrong. This is not true. But you have to observe yourself. And when you observe yourself, there's power. And the beautiful thing is, when you are able to stop this, You are able to come behind. That is the beautiful thing. Ego is denying you this wonderland. You are able to come behind. Ego is denying the extraordinary experience. Instantly, anytime you take a position against your own ego, you are experiencing happiness. If it is sincere, you take that position, you experience super sensuous experiences. You want to add anything? You want to say anything?
Yes, some questions here. One comment, it feels my ego is worse after a year of Brahmin life, or years, I'm not sure. It's worse after this, not better. Is it the ego being a Brahmin?
Sure. In a Brahmin is it is a journey. We are understanding knowledge, and but then putting it into practice is another step. And in this, some level of accuracy is required. Just like you get results when you are accurately doing things. The car will take me from point A to point B if I use the car the right way. Same here. It some time goes into understanding the method and doing it properly. It is better to come to that conclusion than someone just pretends that I am free from ego in some kind of a denial. That is actually worse. Someone says, yeah, are my ego still there? Yeah, is it getting worse? Do I need to fine tune something? Do I need to check something? Am I doing something right? If someone questioning this, they are in a better position. So here, the big, simple method is get the soul consciousness. Even 1 minute of accurate soul consciousness. And this has to be underlined, emphasized a lot. Accurate soul consciousness. And how do you understand this word accurate? When the invisible witness, seeing himself visiting this foreign land, invisible witness is visiting this foreign land, and he knows that nothing of that foreign land can belong to him. He understands his complete independence from that story world. Complete independence. As was said, the role in everything that we can say, it is all part of this story world. Invisible witness here knows his world, alokik world. Doesn't mix. Not one atom of that world can belong to him. And right now, Prashant is talking of these ideas, but Prashant himself is part of the foreign land. And same time, the invisible witness is observer, is conscious, and he is observing. If that is seen like that, each one of us need to see in that clean perspective of the soul. Soul has his own world. His intoxication is based on the real world. Why does he need anything from the story world? that is Ravan's madness. So ego is free from that madness. If this is done even for 1 minute, and we add more minutes like this, guaranteed success. It is going to bring the real change. Sometimes we say emphasis is on quality, quantity will increase.
Becomes a nice checking. Where is the happiness coming from? Some passions and emotions. What am I getting emotions and passions from? And the accurate will be the happiness, intoxication of the real world and that reality. So it feels helpful checking. There are a few other questions. Shall I ask now?
Yeah.
Before we take break. What is the right way to observe the ego when it arises without going into analyzing the story or the roles?
The most important part here is to see what it is, what this identity is based on. These are subtle things. Identity. We give some examples. Image of me being the right, always right, me being punctual, me being something, subtle sometimes. Identity based on another person, my son, my this. Sometimes some pop star. Check if you're identifying with some pop star of the place or the country. Sometimes national thing, like it is possible someone might identify with things of their country, and if you criticize something of that kind, like one country has got some royal family, and you say, I don't like this royal family, royalty, they might take offense. One country has got Taj Mahal. They have not been to Taj Mahal, but you say, I don't want to see Taj Mahal, they might take offense. We have to observe, am I into this situation? Am I identifying with these absurd things, which is nothing to do with us? The whole thing is part of the foreign world. And what am I doing? The absurdity has to be noticed. Then you get power to drop it.
It's interesting, the subtle aspect of identifying with dana, like good dana, such as punctuality. And then it goes into judging or comparing. And so, yeah, many things. And if we are free from the palmat, the opinions of others and our own ego dictates, then we perhaps will be much more neutral about this physical world and the drama play and seeing as the Father sees. There are a few more questions. I don't know if now might be a good time to take a break.
Maybe one more question.
Okay. How can we be brought back down to earth, meaning like be balanced, when we oscillate between very depressed to very high state, like overexcitement?
Yes. And the soul consciousness is the most balanced. Because to start with, it is an absolute truth. And that's why it is stable. It is not going up and down. The truth is very stable. And full. He feels internally full. He feels internally he got a best. So there is no need for him to pretend to be good because he's already good. He's not a beggar, he's never a victim. So all these complications of the beggar and victim disappear. It is very balanced, very noble. The Baba is aiming for that personality. You can use the word divine, noble, angelic, highest. That is the personality Baba is in drawing attention to.
It's like awakening that consciousness that is already balanced. So we don't need to try to micromanage the reactions which are coming from attachment, and then a kind of emotion that comes when we're free, but we're back into the same paradigm. But the naturally balanced soul will replace all of that polarity. So do you have a question you might like to pose for the discussion in the rooms?
Most important question. Anyone got ego?
Yeah.
That is the first. And how do you create these accurate practices? Both, we have to work on both fronts. One side, we have to observe the false identities and help others observe by your experience. That will make others observe. Some of the examples I gave, they are all personal observations, and that's why I could say that with authority. So the same way you share your observations. Also, each time you are creating a minute of accurate soul consciousness, we work on both fronts. So question on both these areas: how to be a yogi and how to be observing the false identities. Hidden ego.
Yeah, very interesting. The two are very connected, aren't they? When you're seeing contrast, like you said, yoga is a mirror, and then you're more likely to see. So we put that in the chat. We'll send a reminder once you're in the room as well. And enjoy the discussion, and we'll see you soon, just over 10 minutes. Thank you. Welcome back. We still have this energy of the room, so sharing and expressing. So do highlight anything in the chat that will surely enrich everyone. Let's take a minute of that contrast, experiencing the mirror of truth. Thank you. When Prashant was saying about the Darwin quote is not survival of the fittest, but the survival of the one that adapts. So it shows it's not always going to be the best thing that survives. Reminded me of the quote by Bertrand Russell: war does not determine who is right, only who is left. So this world is it's remnants, isn't it? It's like Raven's kingdom. There is not we don't see justice and logic. So yeah, we're playing a different game, and that greatest joy to take our position against the ego within, with understanding and in the face of greatness of the soul. So there are some questions, and yeah, welcoming everyone back and coming back to Vishen. Thank you.
Hello and welcome back. Let us create few more minutes of experience. And our big success is separating the invisible witness from this whole web. The whole story has become a web for everyone. And we use our best sight, best intellect, best light. In that environment, so obvious. One side is that story world, and invisible witness, he has his own world. His life is with God and family of God. When he does come in the story world and fully involved in it, that is what happens. He's fully involved. He remains the witness. He remains the trustee. He remains the guest. He remains the actor. He remains in that world, but he is not of that world. He finds it strange to mix his life with the foreign world. His world is alaukic. That is natural for him and normal for him. Invisible, eternal, divine, unearthly. And this remains right now during this gathering or during our rest of the day. We aim to grasp this perspective, stay with that perspective of the invisible witness. Invisible witness is the invisible prince, loved by the King of Kings. Thank you. Yeah, happy to come to the questions.
Something that came earlier, isn't it when there is fear of leaving one's comfort zone that the ego manifests itself?
Yeah, ego is created over a long time. There is a history. From one life, past lives, we are here right now, and they are hidden. We notice them in some situations. So it is positive. Yeah, if you by manifest you mean they are observed, that is a good news. Otherwise, they are hidden. just means they create the same trouble. They remain the cause of lots of our subtle and gross reactions. If someone is grumpy, it is because of that hidden ego. He might not notice what ego it is, but it is the ego. Someone is angry, it is because of the ego. So our job is we want to bring it to the surface and remove it rather than hide them.
You mentioned earlier also that it starts with happiness. We don't do something initially because we think, oh, I'm going to get sorrow. So it starts with false happiness, and then it has the flip side because it's false. So it's easier to spot the sorrow, isn't it? That's definitely ego. But the false happiness may take more checking. And now this question, if I can grasp it. So ego will stay as long as the body stays. Is there any other method to remove the ego?
Body is a separate thing, and a body is not connected with the ego. In golden age, there is a body, but there is no ego. So body is the instrument that is used. And ego is something that is created over a period of time, as was mentioned. So we still use the body, even though we are using the word bodiless. We are in the body, but remain without attachment to the body. That is bodiless.
In this context, it feels helpful when the example is used of the children's drama. Someone is dressed as a camel and someone is dressed as an elephant. So you are camel-less, right? So the camel costume is you're wearing it, but you're not thinking you are the camel. So you're camel-less. Does it make sense?
Yes, it's very clear. That is just a term that gets used, bodiless. But it is for freedom from bodily identity.
It's nice that the body is neutral, role is neutral, and what is or can be the relationship between love and being egoless?
The more ego we have, more selfish we become. Because ego loves itself. That is like one of the madness of ego. Ego truly doesn't think of others. He can play games and pretend, but ego, even if he loves, is what am I going to get back? That kind of equation is there. It is hardwired to be selfish. So more you become free from ego, you become more loving. In all relationships, you will be more loving.
I hope that helps. I'm happy to hear the follow-up thoughts. Can the actor play the part of an angry camel whilst observing and being egoless at the same time?
Yes, it's just a part, but internally the feelings will not be there of anger. Feelings will be of contentment. Just like an actor in a drama can play the part of a dragon also with teeth and all this. But internally he is amused and remains friendly.
Is this where we need the four subjects? Because whilst the internal stage may be content, the Dana is told by the director to also speak sweetly and softly. Does it make sense? Because otherwise it feels somehow not balanced. But any thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. It is not likely, someone who is internally having peace, he won't be out of control. And this knowledge is not to justify anger. Someone who is out of control and angry, and he says, no, that is just a drama. No, he will not be out of control.
I suppose the practical example is if you're a teacher or a parent and you need to give discipline with that kind of authority and sternness, but you might be quietly internally amused and not really feeling disturbed, but you have to play a part. So maybe that would be a case. Someone's asking, is fear ego?
Ego is one of the big reasons for fear. Ego is afraid for his life.
Someone's saying fear about others who have been violent and can make us feel like victim, and their past trauma may come up, and all of those things. Is that ego? How would you describe?
Putting in other words, if ego was not there, you won't even visit it, think about it. It is the past, it is in the story. You are experiencing different celestial reality, that your time is for that, rather than keep brooding about something that happened some time ago. It might have happened yesterday. But the one who has no ego, it is a story, it is irrelevant for him. His time is at the alake, in celebration and in contributing to benevolence and experiencing perfection.
Lee, there was a discussion in one of the rooms about ego and self-respect. So maybe this, in a way, is answering that too. Sometimes it can be confusing when we think it's self-respect, but it's actually not. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, the true self-respect. That's right. Invisible witness is the invisible prince, and it is the eternal prince, eternally lucky.
This third person language you just said, the visible prince, it's third person. Is it the third eye, which is another way of saying spiritual sight, and this third person, are they the same? Does third eye mean third person?
Different. Coming back to our sketch we used, here is the role. In the foreign world, everything is nothing to do with us. The real people, they are the invisible travelers, invisible princes. So they are just passing through this. There is a body and there is a role. And a temporary association with that role. And what has happened in time because of that confusion, and we are using the letter I to this completely foreign thing. It is a role, it is a body, but he's using the letter I for that. That is the biggest success of Maya, to make you use the letter I to Mickey Mouse. It is as absurd as that. You are watching Mickey Mouse, you are understanding it's something separate, not you. And in time, suddenly the I has come. You are using the letter I to that. Now the big achievement for us is to bring the I back to the soul. That's a big achievement. So each time you are using the letter I am a soul, this old I gets mixed up with this. That is the obstacle. You are using the word I, but you are thinking about the body and you are thinking about Freddy, and then using the word soul. It gets mixed. And we said earlier, true soul consciousness is where there is zero mixture. To get real progress, we need to come to that space where there is zero mixture. And only then we can grow in the soul consciousness. If it is mixed, then you are not really progressing. One nice way to achieve this is use the objective language. And in this objective language, you are not just avoiding the letter I altogether. You are saying the invisible traveler is passing through this story and is associated with Freddy, playing the part of Freddy. Try and grasp this. Invisible witness passing through this, invisible traveler passing through this story world, playing the part of Freddy, not using the letter I. That confuses things. And our success is in clarity. The whole problem is because of confusion and mixing things. Clarity is our success. And then in that clarity, you clearly see, yes, these are two separate things. Absurd to mix these two things. And deep inside, without even using the letter I, in the soul consciousness happens. You are identifying with that invisible witness. And this new I takes birth. Just you are watching this. You are watching the invisible witness, his perspective, and new I is taking birth. If the letter I is used, the old I will come in. So it is a nice way to bypass this ego in your practice. Objective language, where you are saying, invisible witness is passing through the story world, is associated with the role of Freddy. In this case, the role of Prashant is associated with it. Prashant is a separate thing. So you are using that objective attitude, especially during meditation. And then you get a clean experience. It is instant. The moment you come in that clean experience, super sensuous experiences will follow. It is like, it is not you practice today and tomorrow you will get experience. Experiences are straight away.
I love this simplicity of this. It feels very exciting. I don't know, that word is what comes up to dissect. And in today's reading, this is the strength, isn't it? The Dharma that has strength is this unmixed. And in the blessing of purity, so it's the original and it's the eternal. and how we can be free from laborious effort. When it's mixed, it's rather laborious. Ego doesn't really want to become free. So yeah, this is the highest salvation, isn't it? Very, very nice. One quick final clarification question. Is the soul and the third eye the same thing?
Third eye may be same as paras. We are using the word paras, with which you can see clearly the whole picture. Sometimes the divine intellect is used, sometimes third eye is used, or divine sight. They are synonymous. And we need to see things the way God sees and interpret things the way God interprets. If the third eye is doing it, it is the same as paras. But the soul is a different thing. Soul consciousness is a different. Third eye is a different.
Yeah, thank you. Someone shared that sometimes third person can create reaction, but as you mentioned, main thing is in our meditation. This is the emphasis. But yeah, fascinating. Thank you. And some links for recordings are in the chat. We can finish with a drill, but would Prashant like to share anything final?
No, we'll go to the drill. Thank you.
Finish with a drill from Madhavan and meeting again tomorrow, same time. Thank you.
देवता बन जाए।